Well, welcome to this week's newsletter. Today is February 17th, and it's the fifth week of the legislative session. A couple days ago, I sent out a reminder about my poll that I'm conducting of your opinions from our Senate district. So thanks very much to all of you that have been sending in the answers to the poll questions and including your comments. So I haven't had time to read all of them yet. There are literally hundreds, but I will be going through those. Thanks very much. This poll will close at noon on Wednesday, so noon on February 19th. So today I'm featuring one of the things that I'm featuring is the Alaska Trends magazine, the economic trends that comes from the Department of Labor. Very interesting information about the loss of population that we're experiencing, and also some of the change in the demographics. One of the groups that I met with last week was a group that are concerned about our services for seniors. You know, a lot of our pioneers now are reaching their late 80s, 90s, and approaching 100 years old. It's the fastest growing population of any of the states per capita, the senior population. We're actually, Alaska is the fastest growing population developing Alzheimer's. This is a very expensive process as people age and become increasingly forgetful and even seriously demented. It's one of the services that our Alaska Pioneer homes are finding more and more prevalent in their population. So something I'm concerned about. I know many of you are as well. There's also an interesting document that I received. We get a lot of publications. This one I printed out, so it's not very pretty coming off my printer, but it's from the Tax Foundation, Facts and Figures About Our State. Alaska actually reaches our Tax Freedom Day on March 21st. That's the earliest of any state. It's because we don't have a personal income tax. That is actually probably the most prevalent reason, and we don't have a statewide sales tax. Overall, we're ranked third for our business tax climate, so we're pretty friendly for businesses. And we're ranked seventh highest of the states for federal aid as a percentage of our state's general revenue. So we get a lot of money from the federal government, and I don't know if Alaskans actually appreciate that. Our state corporate income tax rates are not the highest. We're the fourth highest, so pretty close to the top. So these are just a few bits of information I thought I would share with you about our tax structures. Last week in committees, we heard the alcohol rewrite bill. You might be interested in that, and you'll see a link to that in the newsletter. We also heard about our retirement system. And that was pretty interesting because, you know, I get a lot of questions about our pension and the unfunded liability in our pension. So one of the slides that you'll see, and you'll see this under the Finance Committee piece of my newsletter, but go to slide 20. It looks like this. And this is the projected pension payments, the amount of the pension over the years, and it actually ends in 2097. And you'll see that when you look at slide 20. You'll also see on slide 14, this is the escalating pension liability that we had each year. This starts in 2006. But you'll see here this sudden drop in 2015. And that's when the legislature, looking forward, realized, these pension payments are getting to be pretty substantial. And we made a large down payment on that pension liability. We paid it down with $3 billion. So you see it made a significant drop. These are the pension recipients, the number of folks receiving our pension going forward, and it begins in 2018 out to 2048. This is on slide 19 of that PowerPoint. So again, I get a lot of questions about our pension and the unpaid liability, unfunded liability. I thought you would want to particularly see that. State Affairs looked at the senator's crime bills, the governor's crime bills, pardon me. The Health Committee, you'll see a link in there to the hearing we had on the Pioneer Home fees. We heard a lot of public testimony from folks that are bearing the brunt of that massive escalation, and it was very abrupt in those Pioneer Home fees. We have a bill that would propose moderating that, not dropping them down to what they were, but finding a middle ground. So that link is in there. We also had a very interesting presentation by Dr. Ann Zink. She is our state medical officer, and she gave us up-to-date information on the coronavirus. At least it was up to date at that time. Actually, that evening, in looking at my email, I discovered that the number of deaths resulting from coronavirus had taken a significant jump. You'll see in Dr. Zink's presentation that it appeared those number of deaths were leveling off. So it is a rapidly changing subject. In Community and Regional Affairs, there was a hearing held on the Susitna Hydroelectric Project, an update that we haven't heard in quite some time, so you might find that interesting. The Education Committee moved out Senate Bill 6. This bill would create an intensive focus on reading competency in our schools. So take a look at that hearing. There were some amendments added to the bill, adjusting the bill, but it did move out of Education Bill and is now in the Finance Committee. So that is a bill actually that I have co-signed on, I have co-sponsored on. Coming up this week, as I said, I'm recording this on Monday. On Tuesday, we get our regular update, our annual update from Senator Lisa Murkowski. So that'll be there. The Finance Committee is hearing actually some labor contract information today. Tomorrow they'll be hearing some Medicaid enrollment data. And then on Friday, taking up again the spending cap bill. The spending cap is an issue that we see from polling widespread support from you, Alaskans, and it has widespread support here in the Senate and has for several years. Hopefully we'll get that across the finish line this year. And Senator Bishop has the motor fuel tax bill, and that'll be heard this Friday also. Let's see what else is coming up that you might be interested in. We're going to hear an update on health and social services on Wednesday in the Health Committee, enrollment and things like that. And then Labor and Commerce is looking at bills such as, the subject of Alaska Hire. They talked about it last week, and they're going to be hearing about it again this coming Thursday. So those are some of the things that are coming up. You know, overall, the focus that we're putting on the budget this year is ongoing. The finance subcommittees are meeting. These subcommittees are each assigned to a specific department in state government, looking at how the funding is being spent, whether it's being spent well, what programs need to go away, which ones have adequate funding, and which ones need to have less funding. So it's a rigorous process that the House is doing as well as the Senate right now. But you know, the focus here in the Senate is that concept of growing our future. And that's where we're taking a disciplined, patient, and long-term vision approach to our state budget. We are looking at the permanent fund itself and how we can grow that so that its investment earnings also grow and eventually can support all of our state services. Thanks very much for watching today, and I'll see you again next week.